everyone. This is Jim Gardiner, and this is the Inspirational 30. Now, this is the show where I get to sit down with some of the coolest people you'll meet. The common thread between some of these athletes, wellness advocates, entrepreneurs, outside-the-box thinkers is they all have a motivational or inspirational story to tell. And so, on today's episode, I wanted to kind of start, since it is our first episode, to start with something that kind of tugs at my heartstrings. I was very fortunate enough to grow up on the ocean and spend a lot of time on the water. I'm a huge rower, so my fortress of solitude is on a flat lake at 5:30 in the morning. And really, water should be something that should be enjoyed by everyone. Fishing, swimming, boating, even meditation, even just seeking answers to life. And it's something that everyone has access to or should, regardless of age, disease, disabilities, you name it. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. And so my first guest today, and the first guest on the Inspirational 30, is a man whose mission is to make sure that privilege can happen to as many people as humanly possible. And I introduce to you Jon Pimlott. Jon, welcome to the Inspirational 30.
Thanks very much, Jim.
So, how we doing?
We're doing really good. We're having quite a ride with this little journey I'm on. It's been just magical. Just magic. That's the best way to describe it.
Well, that's, like I said, I mean, it's a magical thing, and you're doing something to help. So let's kind of just bring the audience up to speed before we kind of step back and look at the history of it. You have something called the Rowboat Revolution, and kind of give us the ABCs of what you're about. What is it that Jon does?
Yeah, the Rowboat Revolution adventure journey I'm on. It's my little Facebook page / journal, and it chronicles the journey of an idea. In my case, an accessible rowboat, accessible watercraft, accessible outdoor recreation. It's such a cool category to be working in. I feel blessed to have discovered this area.
And I think it's important to note that by accessible, you're meaning exactly what I was alluding to, that some of your participants have been people that haven't been on the water for years for one reason or another.
Yes, exactly. A full spectrum of different situations that I've been fortunate enough to break the waiting time for those folks that haven't been on the water in 5, 8, 20 years, and different situations through age, injury, birth condition. It's just something to behold. You're just
and I mean, basically, you have a system that allows, for all intents and purposes, a wheelchair to get on a boat, and then to have someone either go out for a fishing journey or a rowing session.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. The ability to offer them not just fishing, but fitness opportunities, I guess. You know, having a friend rowing this year with one active arm, and giving him that opportunity is just such a powerful thing to witness, and think that you've created that moment for them is so much fun. It's
life-changing.
Exactly.
Not only for them, but for you as well.
It's
right?
It's like one of my quotes is, it's therapy for both of us. It's a surreal thing for me at the time. I need time to digest the moments. Sure. When they first happen, I kind of just go and do them, and we're on them, and then later on the moment sinks in, and it's very powerful.
And then it hits you, right? What you've done and what you've been a part of. So, listen, why don't we take a few steps back, and let's get back to kind of the genesis of this idea. I mean, you know, how did you wake up one morning? Were you on some soul-searching vision quest, or you know, like, how did it come about?
Yeah, like you said, the zen of being on a still lake, enjoying your watercraft, whether it's fishing or just rowing along or just sitting there drifting and taking in, you know, the beauty that is Mother Nature around you, and having that epiphany in that moment, and realizing, looking back at a wheelchair accessible dock installed on a lake by the local Fish and Game Club, and having your vision go to the dock, go to your hands on your oars, and then almost like a lightning bolt from the karma gods driving into your head, saying, you just need to put them in front of the oars. So let's just empty the interior of the boat of all its furnishings, fit the boat with some simplistic ramps and roll that person in front of the oars and watch them row in the folks that are mid-level injuries where they have enough arm mechanics to run a set of oars, and and it was just like, as soon
you were kind of in your youth, you were kind of, I don't know quite if it's true, but adrenaline junkie. Like you were the water skier, you were the jet skier out there zipping around, right?
Windsurfing and mountain biking, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And there was 3 spinal cord injuries in the Victoria Mountain Bike Park while I was an active rider when I lived in Victoria. So that, I think, stuck in my memory bank as remembering, wow, that's life-changing. And to a mountain biker, active lifestyle person, that's not your worst nightmare, but it's something you're concerned with when you ride to whatever level or whatever your adrenaline sport is, where you think about it, but you try not to think about it, but it's part of the factors in the lifestyles we enjoy, I guess.
Yeah, and I think, that's part of it. I think it's important, for the viewership to understand that, this isn't something that you have in your family. Like, you're not dealing with a loved one that is disabled for a certain reason or battling dementia or whatever. This is something that just spawned from some spiritual place deep inside you that this was your calling, right?
Yeah, I think I've always watched, I've always enjoyed Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, those inventor type shows where you get to see what people think of and whether that factored into my, who I've become, but I think just the passionate eye going.
And how old were you when you kind of started this? Like, how long ago was
this? Is
beginning of
2011, 12 is when I first started looking at things differently, because I'd walked my dog to that little dock on Diver Lake and met individuals with mobility impairments, and just, I don't know, I want to say that was the trigger, but I think it just laid the groundwork for saying, yeah, wouldn't that be neat to get him out on the water and yeah, it was beautiful. It's just,
okay, so here you are. You wake up one morning and you have this kind of epiphany. I'm going to be a spiritual warrior. I'm going to help some people out. So what's next? I mean, you got the hamster wheel and your head's just turning like a machine, right? You're probably not sleeping at night. Yeah. How do we get it from up here in your melon down to on paper to some actual physical installations and whatnot? How did that all take place?
Yeah, just my networking, my karma networking, I call it, where I contacted certain individuals around central Vancouver Island with spinal cord injuries and talking to the right people, trying to find my test pilots / friends and putting together the opportunity by communicating with people, by putting it on the table and saying, hey, you want to come row the boat? And so Bert Abbott, who has been with spinal cord injury British Columbia on the island here for many years, quite poetically, he was the first one to row, and he rows out. He's a mid-level paraplegic. He rows out, and he says back to me on the beach, he goes, this is the first time I've rowed in 30 years. Boom, that's a good moment.
That's kind of like a drop the mic, exit the building moment.
Exactly,
I mean,
go for a walk.
You know.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was just.
But obviously, I would think, well, geez, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of roadblocks, logistically, accountability, it's the danger element, the unknown. Yep. But obviously, your first main thing is how do you get a wheelchair on a boat and have the boat be stable?
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So you had to kind of build some support parameters?
Some additional buoyancy stability cells that really help the boat become just an absolute precedent-setting kind of hull design that becomes, unsinkable, unflippable to a point, right? Obviously, we're not using it in big conditions, so it's going to take a lot, if it's almost impossible to get this boat in trouble. So but I guess the safety concerns, are paramount. That's the number one thing. Yep. If I get somebody in the boat, I say, first thing I want you to do, if you want to turn around and come back, it's your row. I don't want, you are my barometer. I'm not going to tell you it's okay. You tell me, and it's beautiful.
And obviously, I think with potentially maybe with some younger demographic people, the parents are a little concerned, right? I mean, they're trusting a child, varying age, but a child that maybe has a disability, and putting them in a situation that can be dangerous. And so you've probably had to deal with that as well.
Yes. Some beautiful moments. Actually, last year I had a young I think Owen was 8-ish. No, it was even younger. Anyway, he's affected by cerebral palsy, but his mom was on the beach, and it was like I talked to her and said, "Well, this is what it's about. This is the boat. I'm being cautiously optimistic that you'd like to try it, but I understand. You know, you make the call." And she was very adventurous and very happy to take her son for a row. And again, another beautiful benchmark Zen moment. Just gorgeous, right? And
so you took somebody with cerebral palsy out.
Owen's mom did the rowing. I wasn't in the boat. I watched mom take the son for a row. It was like again, drop the mic, go for a walk. Beautiful moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a touching story. I'm sure you have a whole catalog of
the highlight reels getting
long. I
long.
know, right? I mean, why don't you obviously give me what are a couple defining moments for Jon and this vision and this journey to this point?
Yeah, my friend Sean Wells is a higher injury. He's a C5-6 quadriplegic, so he's quite high. So his arms work somewhat, but his hands work to a percentage. So he's the first gentleman I met on the dock at Divers Lake, probably in 2010-ish. So because he was in a power chair, I didn't even think about having him in the boat. I didn't know that he could be comfortable in a manual chair, because my boat does not take power chairs, way too much weight. So when I put him in the boat and got him a fish, it was kind of like I took him to the other side of the dock. So we rowed over and had a picture taken, and I've taken him on the opposite side of the equation, and again, beautiful moments. And within that same day, Sean's hands can't grip the oars, so we were trying to take Velcro straps and jury rig his hands to the oars so he could enjoy just 50 feet of rowing. Mm-hmm. So it was binding, it wasn't working out, so we threw those away. I just knelt at the back of the boat, put his hands on the oars, and I put my hands over his hands, and we rowed together for 200 feet. And his muscles wound up on his neck and his triceps and all these muscles he's never used before. And he said, "I'm good." And he goes, "That's the coolest thing I've done in I think it's the 15 years he's been in his chair." So again, beautiful. It's like, I want to keep rowing with Sean and see where it goes, right?
Right.
Develop his muscles, and one of those, yeah.
Well, I think we'll give the viewership maybe a chance to we'll go to a little clip here and give them an idea of what we're talking about. But obviously, yeah, I mean, every moment would be a touching moment for people that like
Hard
this.
to pick a favorite. It's like,
I know. How do you pick a favorite? So you at home, hopefully just sit back and enjoy this for a split second.
Jon's mobility boat's a vessel without frills.
Jon, I want to go fishing, not swimming, so let's hope he does it right.
Just getting into a small boat for a person with disabilities is nearly impossible.
putting the first person in front of the oars was like, well, isn't this something?
Simplicity, the ultimate sophistication.
Can't buy that kind of engineering.
Jon installs windows by day.
I sleep pretty well, and then some nights I'm up all night thinking.
At night, he's an inventor.
Life jacket.
Mark, the volunteer,
Guinea pig?
helping Jon improve his fishing
I
contraption.
guess that doesn't count, eh?
By sliding a few tracks around, I can make you a nice, comfortable place to row from, an ergonomic boat.
From the man in motion himself, Rick Hansen, Jon finds inspiration in people with barriers.
Meeting Rick and saying anything is possible, and that, I kind of carry that with me.
Pretty cool stuff. Now, Jon, in that clip with Mark, right? What the viewers really didn't get a chance to see was Mark had the use of only one arm and wanted to go fishing. And I don't know, I can't barely fish with two hands. I can't imagine fishing with one. You created your own makeshift fishing rod so Mark could fish.
Yes.
Why don't you explain a little bit about what you did for him?
So originally I had Mark with there's a product that slides underneath your seat cushion on your wheelchair and has a generic fishing rod holder. So he was going to reel at that point. He was just going to reel the fish. But in my mind, I was like, he can't feel the fish. So it was bugging me. It was funny. So I was looking at my key lanyard one day that I have on my keys, and I just put it around my neck, and I was playing around with it, and I went, wow, that's pretty simple, isn't it? So the ability fishing rod system, I call it for now. And you're basically tethering it, so when the fish strikes, he feels it, through his core, and then he reels with his functioning hand, and we've landed half a dozen fish that way since its inception this spring. But just to give him the feel is
amazing.
Yeah, another one of those.
Amazing.
How do you?
And I think it's important to note that, I mean, obviously, you do most of the hands-on welding, fabrication of
MacGyvering.
everything to do with this, right?
Yeah, totally. It's
And
just,
so, obviously, that brings in a whole other part of this equation is you work full-time, you have a family, you have a wife and 2 kids.
yeah.
So obviously, you're taking them along with you on this journey.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
So how has it been as a family guy, and maybe you can kind of share with us what it's like for them, the support, how they help out.
Yeah, the wife questioned my craziness at first, but then I think as she saw the results, she warmed up to it, and I said, I don't know if there's a business in here. I said, but this is my hobby. This is what I enjoy immensely, and I don't know where it's going, but I can't stop.
I can't stop. No.
Yeah, you're never going to be able to stop me. And my sons it's beautiful watching my sons pick up on what I'm doing and try to help out where they can. And it's pretty cool to have my little guys in there when contributing where they can and supporting me.
I think that's. I mean, obviously, you're doing great things, and we're focusing on the outreach that you're doing. But I think, just that lesson that you're imparting to your 2 kids. I mean, that's stuff that you can't learn in school. You don't learn that, and that's that whole family dynamic seems like it's kind of gone the way of the dodo this day and age with all the electronics. And I mean, you're imparting, a spiritual wellness to these kids, and something that everyone's a part of something that's bigger than themselves.
Yeah, doing it just for the love of the community, not expecting anything back, just because it's fun to do, and that person's smile is payment in full, and the words and everything else is just a bonus, and
you're helping your fellow man, right?
And there's an interesting dynamic that unfolds inside you when you're going, if I might affect somebody else watching what I'm doing, and they might go do something. You don't know, and that's the beauty of it, right?
Ultimately, and I mean, that's what this show's about.
Yeah, it's being inspired by someone's.
I take away from you. I want to be a better person. I think hopefully the viewership takes away that and gets inspired, and maybe they go out and do something completely different, but it's still the same principles, right?
Yeah, giving to your community and wanting to do something to make your community better and healthier. And wellness is a great word, right? Everything, community wellness.
Now, do you want to unhook that bad boy, or you want to sit there with it all the time?
Yeah,
I mean, it's up to you, but
no, it's good.
I have a feeling you're going to poke me in the face with it.
Medic. Yeah. No.
But I mean, obviously, like a simple contraption, yet something that has a profound effect.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. That karma engineering,
Karma engineering. I like that.
Yeah, karma engineering. Yeah.
All right. Karma engineering moving forward. Now let's talk future. Now, obviously, you've been doing this now for 4 or 5 years, give or take.
Yeah.
Let's talk about phase 2, phase 3. Like, what do you see? Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yes, there's a new outdoor adaptive recreation hub being founded on Prospect Lake right now with the Power to Be organization in Victoria. And big, massive potential there for me to, if I could get a finished production boat that could be used by many, would be the ultimate goal, I guess, now, is to get that boat to where, if it was to be worthy of product status, we could start sharing it with other communities that will see.
So in a perfect world, we're trying to basically pull our resources together, create this second phase of the boat, if you will, to be used kind of on an ongoing basis down south, island-wide, really.
Yes, exactly,
right?
Exactly. Get these.
Okay, good. And so now the interesting thing, though, we're not just relegated to the water, right? Could potentially kind of go land-based, kind of like the amphibian that comes out of the water.
We're going salamander.
I know, totally.
Yes, yeah. There's a new prototype in the workshop in the basement right now, which is just a couple of old mountain bike frames, but it's going to become a three-wheeled activity jogger that will receive the entire wheelchair occupant onto the center platform, and then up to 4 people can walk, jog, run this product on the TC 10K or a nice green space around Westwood Lake or on the Nanaimo waterfront or Rathtrevor Beach in the sand, to Tofino. It goes so many ways, and it's just...
Do you ever sleep?
And that's, yeah, the karma insomnia, I call it. It's 3 o'clock. It's fun. It's fun how the design wheels turn, and
Sure.
yeah. So the land-based running jogger is slated for early 2017, if not earlier, and we'll see how that unfolds with my my design time, and as long as I don't wake anybody up when I'm in the garage tinkering.
Well, why don't we take a moment? Let's kind of you brought a prototype here.
Yes.
Why don't you kind of run us through that, and maybe the camera can punch in and kind of make sure we see it. Obviously, he's got a name.
Yes. So I have a great love for the Invictus Games platform, founded by Prince Harry and all the injured soldiers and others that would potentially enjoy an adaptive watercraft moment for racing or just for some fishing.
Right.
So this is basically.
Ramp. So the wheelchair comes up.
Yeah, 365 is basically 12 feet in imperial measurement. So it's a 12-foot by 60-inch wide flat basic skiff. Mm-hmm. But the transom has been designed so that you can roll through or walk through the transom with very little elevation gain from water's edge. And then we will put away the ramp. And one of the key design features, the unfinished interior, all those voids represent foam. The entire inside of this boat is a foamed interior with an interior layer of plywood inside. So it's basically a giant stand-up paddleboard, or a rowboard, I call it. And so now the boat's basically unsinkable. It's 60 inches wide, so it's quite wide. It's not going to row great, but we're not too concerned about rowing speed with what we're doing. And
Great. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, we do have to wrap it up here. So Invictus is the name of the boat, which we're going to get into in a second. There's a correlation between Jon and that. I do want to point out that obviously Jon, as the viewership saw from the clip, Rick Hansen is a huge inspiration for Jon. And Jon has a book here that is signed by Rick to him. And also, he keeps it as a journal of people that are signed in, that he takes them out for adventures, and some little a little guest book, yeah, and some little knickknacks like fishing lures, right?
Yeah.
Some first time this gentleman caught a fish in.
Yes, since the 50s. Cedric's 91, so
because of Jon. We are running out of time, but I know you want to leave us with a little special reading of something.
Yes.
So why don't you do that for us?
Okay.
And I'll take this.
Throw on my vision.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just go right into it. Yeah. So Invictus by William Ernst Henley. Out of night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul.
Take a deep breath. Why don't you just go to the...
In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate or how charged with punishment the scrolls. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Give me a high five, buddy. I think what we all can take away from that is we all are a captain of our own souls, and we just need to kind of find our own ship in life, whatever that ship may be, and it's our job to pilot it for a better cause. So I want to thank Jon for coming in today. You can find more about Jon on his Facebook page. I'll have all this in my show notes, either on my Facebook page or on the website, some behind-the-scenes stuff, canordinaryinspire.com, or on Facebook. I want to thank everybody for coming. I look forward to seeing you and hopefully inspiring you on future episodes. Thanks, John. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.